here at the Loom in Melbourne launching the WNBL and NBL Indigenous Rounds. How much of an honour is it to be here today for this finals event?
Yeah, it's such a big honour to be here for the launch of the Hungry Jacks NBL and WNBL Indigenous Rounds. It's a great way to come together of how we unify the whole sport, and we think that it's a pretty important platform for us to celebrate the amazing contributions of the First Nations people across the NBL and the sport of basketball.
We talk about a lot making a meaningful and tangible difference in the First Nations community through Indigenous Round and other initiatives. How does that look? Obviously we'll see this weekend with the jerseys and the countries and the activations and games, but what else is the league doing behind the scenes to really elevate those meaningful differences?
Yeah, I think there's the important part is how we tell the stories, both of the incredible players, men and women, who have been involved in this sport, and they really become the heroes for the next generation. And to see someone like Jackie Dover on court, as well as amazing male and female players, is inspiring for people. But also the work that I'm very proud of is our RAP working group and the efforts that we're putting in behind the scenes to make sure that we can improve our impact with the First Nations community and, frankly, their impact on the sport of basketball.
And the Indigenous player rule as well. I've seen players come through that program already. How big of a thing is that for the league to have the only professional sport league in Australia to have a rule like that to really incentivise and drive those pathways?
Yeah, I think it does two things, that rule. One is it gives a very practical ability for our First Nations people to be able to come through and get contracts and play at the highest level. But also secondarily, it sends a message that you're a big believer and you can't be what you can't see. And so if we can then show to all of the communities that we're really getting behind our First Nations people and want to see them perform at the highest level on the biggest stage, then that's an important message we want to send.
And lastly, you spoke about the collaboration with the NBL and WNBL. How important is that more broadly for the sport to unify the sport and really come together as well?
It's been a big priority of mine since starting, is if there's a way for the NBL and the WNBL and Basketball Australia and the NBA all to come together and work collaboratively, then as a sport, I think we're going to be unstoppable. And so when we're not, it becomes more challenging. So I'm thrilled that this is now materialised into our first ever Indigenous Round, jointly brought to you by the Hungry Jacks NBL and the WNBL.